Hi, and welcome to Mind's Meditations. So a while back, I had the idea to get a little creative with some of my remnants from arts and journal projects, and I was reading one of my favorite books for co-creating, Getting Your Life Together by Sonia Choquette called Your Heart's Desire, Instructions for Creating the Life You Really Want. So, and I got this a few years ago now, and as you can see, it's well decorated, but I love writing in books. I don't like lending them out then, but oh. So I do not like to waste art, especially with the way the world is. There's just so much already being made. So the idea to create my own creative reminder type of book, following some of Sonia's prompts from her book, seemed like a really good idea. Now, the Rainbow Book is actually the name of a book that inspires me a great deal, and it was created by the museum in San Francisco, I think, back in the 70s. And my mom had a copy of it, and the reason I love it is it's actually printed, I'm going to go dig it up in a second here, on rainbow colored paper. So, unfortunately, my copy, inherited from my mom, seen better days. Sadly, it's also been made into art. But anyway, so I still have quite a bit of it. $6.50. Are you kidding me? Okay, and so the reason it inspires me here, check this out. And they have sectioned it by mythology, what's orange? Poetry, beautiful poetry dedicated to the rainbow. I love the physics of the spectrum because I've never thought of myself as a science person, but this is like one of my favorite chapters, as is the Motions of the Universe one. The more illustrative it gets, the more I super love it. This is awesome. Music and art. And then there's, of course, spiritual elements of some rainbows and the Antikythera and the bridges made of rainbows, you name it. So this book, obviously, at any age would have kind of a huge impact, and I read it pretty young, so it is the inspiration for this one. But keep this handy so it makes sense. So my rainbow book. So this here, I'm packing it to move, so I wanted to keep some mementos that really have nowhere else to be. This is a map of a temple in Greece that my grandparents sent to me. It has personal meaning for sure for my grandparents. That's why it's in there. But we'll start, because I went with some colored pages as well in the red section. This is all done in watercolor or acrylic, watered down on watercolor paper. It's one of my favorite things to use. So here I had done some layered stenciling in acrylic paint. I love using Jane Davenport stamps for all sorts of things. And here I was studying about art history, the pigment red, how it was created, cinnabar. I don't know how to pronounce them, cochineal bugs that they used to use in South America to create the color red, and the economy that sprung up from just creating paint colors for artists is a pretty fascinating subject for me. Okay, so first page, acrylic on paper, Jane Davenport eye stamps, and stencils. This one here is an embellished on watercolor paper using Prussian blue or Mrs. Stewart's bluing as the ink, because I love the color. Instructions for creating the life you really want. So that is the intro to this book. I may have to put it in a binder eventually to keep it from ripping. So this here I wanted to keep in this book as a reminder, because I love using stamps in art. Especially because on a tight budget, so I have to use what I have to have. So it really depends on where my headspace is at for how I want to use it, which makes it all that much more fun. This sort of really touches base with sort of source and the soul and the personality and sort of the work that we do every day, no matter how boring our lives are, towards these ends. So the first thing Sonia's creating the heart's desire course starts with is warming up. And the first rule, because I kind of put these pages in the wrong way, is to travel lightly. So I really had fun using gold leaf for the first time in here. And part of traveling lightly as we warm up to create the life we really want is to take responsibility for your dreams. In order to create your dream, you must first recognize that you are a divine creator, and as such have already created many miracles in your life. Even the circumstances you don't like are reflections of your creativity. This means that you can't blame others, deny responsibility, point fingers, feel sorry for yourself, or allow yourself to be angry over the way your life is now. Don't be a control freak. It's also part of traveling lightly. Alright. Then we move into bring your dreams into focus. Never mind all my chicken scratch there. So part of manifesting your heart's desire is being able to focus, which is a challenge for anybody. I don't care what era we live in. You would not believe how hard it is just to focus on taking care of yourself, right? Never mind spiritually grounded principles in your everyday chaos. So one thing you need to do is accept that your thoughts create your reality. So again, had some fun with the gold leaf over here. And this here is supposed to be the wheel of intention. And things that intention help empower are your attention. They are about commitment, power, authenticity, joy, creator, instead of shoulda, coulda, woulda, self-harm, other people's opinions, your fears. These things cannot matter when you're trying to function in your intuitive self instead of your conventional, socially not acceptable, that's not the word, socially needed self, right? Everybody counts our blessings to have people in our life in the way that we need them, even though maybe sometimes it's not always the way they want to be needed. But that's a whole nother subject. Let's see here. I'm just reading. So gain the support of your subconscious mind. And this was also a prompt for one of Jane Davenport's Facebook group projects, so the stamps there. And the sort of idea that the fairies could represent the divided elements of your subconscious self. And your job is to pull it together through focus. And reminding yourself to think in a language that best reflects the life that you want to live, moment to moment, instead of its special occasion. Counting your blessings. So this was a fun piece to create. These are stamps that I ended up painting in acrylic. And I layered in her hair into various colors with some background done in a stencil and acrylic. These are old, reused pieces of art that I didn't end up wanting to do anything with, so I had a butterfly stamp, and I stamped them out and kept them in a bag. So these collage books are really fun ways to go through your craft stash and get stuff used. So again, on focus with Sonia Choquette, it's good to take some time to sit down and reflect on what it is you actually desire now, today. And if you're, constantly having to refocus, then maybe your desires are more immediate in your lifestyle and health and body, or home, relationships, relationship to yourself, before you get into the loftier spiritual motivations in life. This one is a fun one because this one pulls together, like I said, I'm packing up my house right now to organize. And here is a picture of a folk art one-stroke rose I had done, and I was working from home, so I had just finished reading the Da Vinci Code. I was really enamored with the notion of a hidden salon, so especially as it was in my house, a salon sub rosa. Here was an early vision board, and these are helpful. I think this kind of is a larger element of that. This is a original piece of mine. It's crayon on top of colored crayon. I did this probably back in 2008, so it's kind of neat to keep this in a art project created in 2019 and really pulled together almost a decade of projects and places and ways of thinking. One of the mantras or words of grace that Sonia offers in her book is, through divine grace, I move into my rightful place. I am free of old drama. I do not need the trauma. It's almost like a Mary J. Blige song. So, and this is my blue fairy, so she kind of is that embodiment of grace that the mandala is on my orange page. This was a fun one. Pardon my voice. So, once you gain the subconscious support and you're not on a negative self-talk loop tape, you need to state your intent, get your solar plexus, personal power focused, and start imagining your heart's desires and putting your intention behind manifesting them. So losing the mask of old desires and making way for the formless energy of new ones. So I, Maya, use the full power of my attention and intention to create the following desires now. The list can be endless right now, but I'm just going to take finishing this video. All right, here's your, I suppose, higher self. I always have a bird in my pictures and roses. And acrylic on watercolor, Jane Davenport snaps. This is a fun one. So my husband is a huge fan of Lake of the Woods. I have my own experiences there as well, so this was a great picture to create, kind of bringing together all of our experiences from all the angles, because now it's just that kind of magical place for me and my husband and kids to focus on going to in the summer. And I grew up with one similar, but it was Gimli, and my husband grew up with his own, so being able to offer one for the kids and have them count down the days till we go. I think we're somewhere close to 70 maybe. Anyway, moving on to this picture. This one was done with masking fluid and watercolor and ink. And the all-important mantra, decision is owning your dream. You cannot own your dream if you're all over the place. Every day has to be an effort to decide, does this support my dream or am I on autopilot? Focus. Take a second. Take a breath, right? I definitely do not do enough of those. All right. Weeding out the garden. These were done also for Jane Davenport's Facebook group prompt, but I really wanted to keep them in my Heart's Desire journal, especially because Alice in Wonderland is a theme that really comes in and out of my life over most of it, so this seems appropriate. Yeah. Can you possibly imagine? To me, that's the kind of conversation you have with your aunt or your grandmother, your mom or your sister or whomever over tea, over the brew, while you daydream about all sorts of things you want for yourself, for others, for the world. I think those conversations are super necessary. I think they don't get happened enough. I think we maybe channel it a little too gossipy or too materialistically. But it's still good to get together with like-hearted others and discover, what people want. Sometimes even just connecting with the problems of other people's helps you put yours into perspective. We get into the blue colors, and this is all done in Mrs. Stewart's bluing, or the Prussian blue tones, my favorite. That corresponds with the throat chakra. communication, vibration, intuitive guidance, being open to intuitive guidance, and knowing what it means for you to be open to intuitive guidance. Great to read 6,000 books on intuitive guidance, but if you don't ever actually touch base with that feeling inside of yourself, then it's always intellectualized, and you will feel incomplete on some level and frustrated. So learning to ask, receive, believe through meditative asking, through prayer, through art, because art is my meditation. So each one of these paintings, as much as I'm sitting here going on about my intuitions, have a whole other level for me personally, having made them, the experience, the memories I have of the day I created them. So, and those I'm grateful for. This is a good guide here. She's my dear guide. Do you want guidance? There's so many questions, but don't ask for what you don't want. Which is, it's a good question to ask. You know why? Because Sonia says, often the greatest obstacle to principle number 5 is our own attachment to false ideas and preset expectations and a love and attachment to our own comfortable, familiar misery. So if you're not really interested in changing, just give asking a rest, because spiritual guidance is subtle, and if you can't chill out and receive it, you're just going to get in your own way. Let's see here. Oh, yes. Breath. Oh, hey, Taffy. There, the dog's in the room. 1 second. All right, dog is chilling outside the room now. 1 second. There we go. All right, so this picture page, super fun compilation of different art embellishments I had done for different journals. Again, Prussian blue. These ones were done in watercolor and Sharpie pen. I like my sad girls, to be quite honest. I'm a pretty cheerful person, but there's something about there being just always such a cheerful on everything. I always feel like, you know what, the sad, moody, nostalgic folk need artistic embellishments as well. These were done using my children's spinner art toy and using different paint and just sort of and then letting the brush drag and create the circles, and then I did the landscapes in them after. So this is my peace page, my blue, my cool zone, followed by my Reiki. So I am a Reiki practitioner. I do have my Reiki teaching level. I do not teach. I've primarily focused on keeping my Reiki in my art and just friends and family. Let's see here. So choosing to support your dream with love. So this to me is principle number 6 in her book. But it taught enthusiasm, she goes over as well, but Reiki healing or personal self-care, or even just 10 minutes a day of listening to your heartbeat and your own breath. I mean, take it however you will take it, but just try it. In the picture here, there are no stamps. There's just a collage. It's done in gold paint, which I don't know if I can catch. Oh, yeah, a little bit there. Some of the Reiki healing symbols. These are hand poses for self-healing. Even if you don't believe in the idea of the interconnectedness of everything and energy and vibration, and how important that is to spend time with yourself, working on positive, I don't even know what the word is, programming. Spending time by yourself is still a very healthy process, no matter what you want to think about spiritually while you're doing it. All right, create your dream, not someone else's, right? You can respect everybody else's. You don't have to live them. All right, here, let me see. I want to find the relevant comments from Sonia in her book. All right, well, like I said, I love to draw my sad girls, but at the same time, all the world loves a lover. And to claim your dream, you have to love it. Love it as much as you want everybody else to love it, which probably sounds weird, but depending on the nature of what your heart desires, it needs to apply, I think. I found myself thinking the other day, because I'm struggling to eat healthy and make healthy choices, and it occurred to me to say, as I grab water or something healthy, instead of the thought I was having, I'm making peace with water, I'm making peace with laundry, I'm making peace with letting my dog outside, and even just saying the words instead of, I don't want to do this, I'm making peace. It's the starting point. Makes a major difference in how I finish that sentence and how my actions flow out of me. Instead of sharp, angry frustration, they're more just accepting, and that's important, especially when you have kids and pets and family. So this is a fun one. This was done at the lake in watercolors that were kind of chalky, so there's a texture to it. It's a unicorn, which I find is hugely relevant symbolism nowadays. Kids are over the moon for everything unicorn, which is fine. I found some of my husband and my wedding social tickets, and I thought that would just sit there. I'm not sure about why I've put everything where it is, and maybe in another decade it'll all make more sense. But I could say I definitely surrendered control meeting him, and that was, one of the best initiations into that truth, I think, for me. And it helped me, develop my family and get to the inner choices that loving choices attract abundance. And you notice that when you're choosing synchronistic moments or going with your flow or doing the right thing or doing something kind for somebody, everything just works out. Everything goes together, keeping that right headspace. So this was a mistake, but nothing's a mistake. So it sort of symbolizes how water-like our emotions are, and how forgiveness can really just clean that pond, right? Set everything to balance when you just sort of let go of getting your way and just letting it be the way that it is. And if you're that sort of pagan, I don't know, that's not the right word, spiritually minded, you're cautioned to remember you're the channel, not the source. When you really start tuning into your symbolic vision and creating more mystical-based art or poetry or creations, your ego gets right in there. It has to be a part of it. Your ego doesn't disappear. You have to sort of keep it with you for the entirety of your life, and then when you die, there you go. You can separate. So the challenge is always knowing where your ego's place is in your present moment, right? So you're the channel, not the source, and we are all the channel. One big Lincoln chain. This painting here I like because it was done blindfolded. I'm just starting this sort of technique. It's nothing super special or new. I work with a group online on Facebook called Our Psychic Art. You're welcome to join in if you like to do art that is done in altered state, which can be anything from a prayerful state, meditative state, to channeled state. I don't think there's a lot of limitations to that. So one of the artists there, Vargo, does blindfolded art, and he really encouraged me to give it a shot. The ink came after, which was the fun part, because when you're blindfolded, it's a really interesting landscape to look through to decipher and see what you see. So this page is one of my blue girls, and with her crystals and her short hair, because you always see femininity as, long hair or that softness, where short hair, I was a hairdresser for 20 years, always had a really feminine element to it. So community creates the synergy for miracles to happen. Absolutely. The one thing I've noticed is isolation, even the internet. It's always been a struggle for creative types and people, before computers and smartphones, the rag was stop reading your books all the time, or, just get outside. So finding online communities is definitely helpful, but generating your real life in tactile communities are super important as well. That's that. You can feel it with your online ones too, though. I mean, you do touch other people's lives and do, offer different ways for people to get their flow going. So, all right, anyway. 7th chakra affirmation. I am a child of the universe. I serve the highest good of my personal spirit and that of my creator. I am fully committed to bringing light and love and balance to earth. So this was when I first did some, I think it was Trust Your Vibe. It says here. She had an online course through her website 10 years ago when I had, so it's been fun going through all this stuff. Just seems really timely to include it in here, and some old art that I had as well. I was talking this much. She is a nature spirit done in acrylic on watercolor paper. There's some metallic paint to her. Another affirmation from Sonia as we get into sort of the purple pages. Another loose watercolor roses. This was fun. This is a draw in your own style challenge I recently did on Instagram. And I mean, I have a long way to go with gold leaf, but super fun. Like the whole X and O is not just hugs and kisses, it's light and darkness, right? And the unity of them, especially in the purple pages. Now, these were some of my favorites to do this spring because I was doing some spiritual based art, which is something new. I've never done spirit portraits before. And this is Nefertari. There's a few versions and people who share the name, but she was queen to Akhenaten, and her bust is pretty famous, although I have her with eyes here. In the bust she only has one, which is why this seems really apropos, and these came after, or the insights as to who they were came after the art, so that was a lot of fun to connect those dots. And if you've ever read anything about the non-conformist attitudes of her pharaoh and culture that they had for about 17 years, Be a Daring Individual would definitely sum them up. I really enjoyed the process of using the pencil crayons on black paper. I really want to do more of it. This one's a reminder as we head into the purple proportion. Stay true to your dreams, and that was done with a palette knife. I really want to try that process a little bit more. Cupcake wrappers, and this was again art I had done in 2008, so just that kind of tying over a decade of chasing my dreams. And these are some watercolors I have done. I did grow up earlier in my life in a Lutheran Church, so it has that really churchy vibe to it, so that's why, and the purple tones gave it to the purple section. And I do definitely believe given it will be given to you, do as you would, even though I wouldn't say I'm all that Lutheran in my output anymore. I'm definitely more eclectic, but I wouldn't say it doesn't compose a core element in my perspective and, sense of service to my community, volunteer work, just making sure the people around me, I can do what I can do. In any case, I do really like how this watercolor turned out to sort of finish off my rainbow book. And then this here I did way back, I think probably in 2001, when I was still hairdressing. I had it up at my station, so it just sort of, it's my rainbow book, I think, it's the end of it. So yeah, really happy with how it turned out. I'll probably have to put it in a binder to keep it from just shredding, but it also gives me a place to put all of my rampant art channeling and images, and like something I can pack up and one day I can pull out for the kids and grandkids and enjoy looking at it. Anyway, that was my rainbow book. Thank you for tuning in. Have a good day.